Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the series of the Fabian Meeson method, where we first have a helicopter view of the position, what's going on, and then come up with the best move after calculating. So we first look at our opponent's last move, what his plans are, what his targets are, then we look at our own. And we basically do this because most games are lost because you miss an opponent's idea. After looking at our own ideas, or targets, and our worst piece, then go to calculation. And we don't have to do the worst piece thing, but we do have to look first before we calculate to get a helicopter view. So let's start. Here, our opponent just made this move, defending this pawn twice, which is necessary. His rook here is very nicely stationed. I don't see any real targets he could go for. Okay, we have to be aware that some pieces are undefended at the moment, which could be targeted by the knight. Imagine this pawn not being there, that was this move. Now that we analyze our opponent's idea, we can look at our own. Well, this is once attacked and once defended. If we attack it again or release the defender, then we could win a knight. This pawn is once defended and once attacked. These two are undefended, but not targeted to ball at the moment. Uh, so yeah, from what I can see, this is kind of what's going on, and we can notice that the king is defending two things at once, but it cannot defend both at the same time. So let's say if you take this, for example, okay, knight actually takes. So we missed to see that. So oops, it's actually defended twice. But if you take this first and king takes, and we have now it does become evident that the king cannot defend two at one, and we can take here, we check, taking both these two, and then take the rook, and we're up a knight. But obviously, you also had rook knight e6, which we missed. We calculating mistake. We had knight e6. We first have to check the checks. Oops. So okay, I think we did a good job um, looking at our targets, but we failed to do the calculating steps right. And the calculating steps should be checks, captures, and threats. It's nice that we now made a mistake. And I assumed there was no check in this position, but there is actually. And I also missed to note something, which is that this pawn is pinned. So you had 96 check, and this way you immediately win um, the piece. However, I do believe that arting was not as bad as it looked, as takes, takes. Oh, I thought he could not defend it. He could. Then I really just fucked up because I did not realize you could just go back, and I admit my mistake in that position. So now we just recover and we go on. So here we can clearly see we have a massive development. There's a pin. Let's notice the pin this time. And there's also this. So you can imagine the scenario. We can here takes. So we can not take with the queen, but we have to probably then take with the pawn. All right. So also notice that king could be vulnerable because of the weak diagonal, but I'm not sure. There's also this rook. No, it's defended. This rook, however, is not. This bishop is not defended. So we have to make something work in the meanwhile with all these observations. And what do we come up with here? All right, so our observation is this is undefended. The king might be weak on this diagonal. This is undefended. But I only see this and this target as really feasible, as this one is a bit hard to reach. And now we start to look for, we try to create a helicopter view, and now we start to look for um, tactics. So we first take the checks, queen a4 check, queen d7. And how do we continue? Well, there is this pawn, which is also a target. Then after takes, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. But there's also queen a4, queen here. And since there are no checks in that position, there is a capture. And after king has to take, we can give knight e5 check, 4 king, king, and a bishop. And that should win us a piece. Notice how we concluded in our helicopter view that these are the feasible targets, which are undefended, and that makes looking for the solution a lot easier. All right, next one. Our opponent has a discovery lined up for himself, where he could just play something like this, or this actually, and that would be very close to mate, or just winning a queen. Either case, it's looking really good, and we'll need to calculate it, and it looks really good for our opponent. So that indicates that we have to do something very drastically, or we're just dead lost. We notice that the diagonal of the king is a bit open. This is also a bit open, but kind of good, well defended. This side is open of the king. For the rest, this is well defended. This is well defended. This is undefended. But to me, because I know this now, because we first looked at our opponent's bullshit, which is going on. To me, this suggests this is not even important. I could imagine a scenario where it's something similar, where people would just play f5. Okay, first off, knight can take, but unknowingly that this is much more important than the discovery, which could be there. So here we clearly have to respond to our opponent, I think. And we do that either by this check or this check. And now we just calculate. What do we calculate first? Well, I think we should calculate the queen first because queen is a bit stronger than the rook. So after this check, we have this, and then we have takes again. And then the rook actually has to stop it, and then there is this mate. And it appears to be that is actually a very strong mating threat, and we found the solution. Very nice. Now it's white to move. We have a knight stopping the promotion of our opponent. So our opponent wants to promote. He might also want to trade off this and then try to get this king here and then shoo away the knights and then promote. But that just doesn't look that good. Because this takes 1, 2, 3, 4 steps at the very least. So we know that. Okay, we kind of calculated a little bit. We, on the other hand, we can't I don't feel like this king could be mated here with just the rook and the knight. It's very hard to mate the king, which is not that much restricted. It could go everywhere it wants to. So the king is not a target. The rook could be a target, but I'm not sure. I think our main plan here is to promote this pawn. So now that we know that this is our plan, we can calculate. So if we take here first, king takes, push the pawn. Is the king on time? Now we'll see. He goes back, here, goes back, here, goes back, here, and now he stops it. Okay, so we cannot push them immediately, right? So after takes, we push here. I just want to look for myself if who's faster, him or us. If it's up to him to go here instead of going back. Here, 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 takes, here with queen, goes back. So his plan doesn't work. He has to respond to our plan, that's for sure. This plan also doesn't work as long as the knight is here. So that also suggests to me that actually I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So what I see is we can either take this one, and then we go here, and then he goes back. So, or we play c4. But for c4, I'm just a bit scared of something like this, which is also very slow. So, in order to calculate this, we first have to go through the steps. Checks, captures, threats, and then pawn breaks. So we have to first check this. Takes, and after here, he has to go back. Then we go here, 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 and we get to take care of the promotion square, which looks good. And if he doesn't respond and goes forwards, we can just push because we noticed that this was also too slow. So that's because this already works. We don't have to calculate this, I think. And we can just play c4. He does go for this plan, seemingly. We now can go here. And if he goes here, ooh, we could go for both at the same time. Still in the square. We could take here, 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 here. Still in time for the promotion square. Instead, he decides to go for this one. We already calculate this one and notice that he would be in front of the pawn when we queen. So yeah, that was quite simple. So yeah, that was not the easiest puzzle up until now, but definitely doable. Here, our rook is attacked. Our king is a bit vulnerable here. Definitely, definitely. So our opponent definitely has some plans. And we need to do something quick before he starts to be the aggressor in the game. You notice that the king is very restricted here. Cannot go here. Pawn defense. This is also defended. This is also defended. He actually just has one square to go. But if you give this check, other squares open up. So logically speaking, we have to give this check first. This pawn is defended by the other rook. And after we do this, then we can give this check with the bishop. And everything is locked. And that's pretty much game. Again, the thing we noticed there, I think that was the only thing we could notice there. And it paid dividends. Here we see a weak diagonal of the king. Oh wait, first again, I'm very I'm not good at this either. Our opponent doesn't really have a plan, to be honest. I see a pawn maybe. I see maybe a rook sack. I see maybe c6 is actually a viable target. Um, so yeah. And now we go to the second step. What are our targets? Well, this is undefended. Um, the king's diagonal could be vulnerable, but since we don't have a white square bishop or a queen, it's unlikely that this gives us anything. And there is, yeah, there's basically that. So there's a king, which is very vulnerable, and there's this rook. This rook doesn't really look that appetizing, but the king really does look appetizing, especially with this on the diagonal and this knight having checks here. Knight here check would not make sense because bishop takes, but there's also this check. And after takes, this is actually already made. And that's the solution. All right. So our opponent is threatening some type of discovery to which we could get mated. Actually, we are getting mated if this happens. Well, well, we do have some squares to go to. We could also play this. Takes. Okay. Maybe not ideal. But I guess the main thing here is that our opponent can threaten this. And after we go here, he threatens this. And it's very unpleasant. But at the same time, he might be also threatening something like this. But then we can escape here. And then he can threaten this, question mark? Oh. But the thing is here, he cannot play f6 because our queen is blocking that pawn. So that is not a threat. So the real threat is just this discovery of there's no f3. So the discovery is really strong. So we can just move out of the way. But we also have to notice that this rook is also undefended. This rook is also undefended. And there's a weak back rank. The weak back rank cannot be immediately used because there are no pieces on the open lines. So the only move that makes sense to me, because we're also ahead of in material, is rook g2 to stop his plan, to force at least a trade, or takes, and then to do something else. But we have to go through calculation. This, nope. We are not really targeting anything with rooks, neither are we with bishops. So by process of eliminations, the tactics don't work. We should play this. And after that, we should just here. Notice how we did not spend enough time here to notice that he is attacking c1. We were so focused here, which is still the main thing that we forgot to here. Check something here. And now, after this, I'm quite surprised about rook takes to c1. I didn't even realize that that was possible. But we still have so much material. We are, after this exchange, that we should be fine. So that was a bit sloppy. Actually quite sloppy. But it is what it is. Here, our opponent is not really targeting anything. This doesn't seem threatening. Well, there is a threat of knight here, which could be annoying. Knight d5, very much annoying because it targets this. And then when we look at our targets, we see that the queen is undefended, this bishop is undefended, and yeah, that's about it. And then immediately the move d5 comes to mind. After Knight takes d5, attacking the queen and the c7 pawn. We take here, and after knight takes on the queen, we take the knight and we gain a piece. And if bishop takes, that even makes things easier. We win a full queen. Pawn takes, still same thing. We win a queen for a piece. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, last three ones. So here, a queen endgame. Very hard to play, usually. But this is quite an exception. His plan is obviously to promote or to mate me. Or give a perpetual. There's probably a perpetual here. And our plan here is that, well, I see that the king is kind of restricted here. The queen is not really a target. Or he should blunder the queen. Even though it's undefended, there are not enough pieces to target it. Well, you could target it with the queen, but then you would be blundering your own. But the king, however, is a very nice target here. The pawn could be a target, but it's defended once. It could protect again, but that's a bit too slow. But the king, very, very back ranking vibes. I see rook h1 check in my calculations, and that's the immediate mate. So that's a quite easy one. Black to move. So we are black, we have these pieces. He is white and he has these pieces. We are up a piece, but we are down 2 pawns. He simply wants to promote here or play something like rook h8, taking the rook, or if you take with queen, but then we can do this. Yeah. So we're really not afraid of anything here. He's really not threatening anything. This doesn't work. Takes, and take. Ah, I see. So his plan is to go here and then to go here. And after we take with queen, take, he can promote like this. He can promote like that. And our plan is to simply promote this one. So let's calculate here, here. And if we go here, our opponent cannot immediately promote, because then we take. So what happens is he has to play this first, going for his plan, right? And my plan was actually to promote the queen here, and after he takes, we give a check. But where does the check have a good impact on our position? Because we can give the check. Hmm. This is actually a quite hard puzzle for me. So we push, he push. We push, he go here. We push, he takes our rook. And the rook is now here. The pawn is here. We have lost the rook. We have a queen. And we could give this check. And after the king moves, we take this one. Then he could take here, go here, try to promote this pawn to h8, but then we take with the bishop. And we actually stopped all the threats. And we're safe to, yeah, we're safe. So here, here. Promotion, he takes the rook. We say, I don't care. We just give this check. After he moves, we stop the immediate pawn from promoting. Then if he goes here, we can already take this one as well. And then he can promote, yes, but then it's a rook against the queen, and we should be winning, or at least fighting for a win. So yeah, let's do it. He goes for this immediately, which is not the best move, because now we just take, take, take. And if he goes here, we just go here. So what? No, this is so infuriating because we spend so much time. I know that the other one also worked. Like, I know I know this works, but the whole thing here is this should not work. I think I missed something then, because after takes here. Oh, yes, king here. Oh, I missed this. Yeah. D7 here. Oh, you cannot stop both at the same time. I thought you could. Yeah, that was a misconception by me again. We did, however, have the right solution. For some reason, we did not go for it, unfortunately. We're still at 38, but still pretty happy with how we have been performing. So here, our opponent wants to clearly mate us. Um, that's his plan. He's also taking the rook. And when we look at our own plan, maybe I went a bit too fast here. We can see that the king is very vulnerable. We can get this check, we can get this check, we can get this check. Um, to which this one actually looks very decent because he's forced to go here. And I actually had this type of position yesterday where I just kind of ladder made this guy. So check here, check here, and check should be checkmate. It's not? Oh, because you have rook here. Ah, I see. I see. So, okay, we failed. I think I was a bit raging or something in the last part. Maybe it's something like this then. I thought it was very similar. After we give this check and then we give this mate, I think. Because he can, if he goes here, wait, what? I still don't see it, huh? King g4, queen g3, king here. Oh, this is mate. And if he goes to h5, I thought this would be mate. Ah, rook h4 and then okay, so from the other side, I made some critical errors. Okay, we did not manage to do the best job today with impatience and a bit of a heckle somewhere down the road. But I still think we did a good job analyzing. And now we also just kind of know where our mistakes lie, what we did not notice. Uh, it was mostly calculation where we did not went well, but this is also has part to do with our helicopter view where we focus too much on mate. We did not spot this, for example. Yeah, something like that. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.